Everything began with the advance of Russian troops, but it ended in complete failure and retreat under the strikes of a Ukrainian Leopard. The armed forces of Ukraine advance on Russian positions. A drone spots a group of Russians trying to hide in a nearby house. The commander immediately transmits the information, and the assault continues. Part of the enemy group tries to take advantageous positions. But their movement is being tracked by drones. At this moment, 2 Ukrainian Leopard crews enter the battlefield. The first tank opens fire on the houses where Russian soldiers may be located. The buildings collapse like a house of cards under such pressure. The way is cleared for infantry, and one of the tanks withdraws. But suddenly, during the retreat, the Leopard encounters a Russian tank. Close combat begins. Notice that the Russians do not attempt to attack. They realize it makes no sense and try to back off. The Ukrainian tank fires and disables the enemy. The Russians had no chance. Drones finish what was started and destroy the knocked-out tin can. Taking advantage of the absence of Leopards in the village, Russian soldiers try to find shelter. But reconnaissance records every movement. Here, we see the Russians enter a building, confident that they are safe. But Ukrainian drones instantly move toward the enemy and deliver crushing strikes. The building is now on fire. But this is not the end. Artillery joins the fight. Precise strikes pierce the walls of enemy buildings. Then, a drone drops ammunition. The projectile hits the building directly, turning it into a cloud of fire, smoke, and dust. The group begins to move. Soldiers cautiously advance along the houses, covering each other. The next stage of the operation begins: clearance. The fighters take position inside a half-destroyed house. Assessing the situation through a broken window, they dash across an open, fire-swept area. They move in short sprints from cover to cover. The group continues advancing deeper. They need to check every surviving structure to ensure the enemy is absent. At the same time, a Leopard flanks the enemy and opens fire on their positions, leaving no way for retreat. Activity is spotted. The fighters approach the next shelter, where the enemy has settled. One soldier makes a rush, and a moment later, an explosion is heard. After the grenade blast, the fighter throws another one into the shelter. The commander orders to continue the clearance using grenades to minimize risk for the assault group.
Это внутри дома было.
Що там? Прокидуть гранати. Прокидуть гранати.
After some time, the buildings are successfully cleared, and the infantry, together with the Leopards, withdraw, having secured favorable positions for the Ukrainians. After some time, a new attack begins on the flank. The Ukrainians respond with drone strikes, but the enemy manages to deploy infantry into the tree line. The Russians try to avoid drone strikes and want to take advantageous positions. They rush through the dense part of the trees, unaware of what awaits them.
Давай, давай, братики, давай, 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 давай. Сейчас оттянемся, пока в зеленку мы тут на открытке сидим.
The commander says they need to get out of open ground while the sounds of drones hunting victims are heard in the background. The Ukrainians try to destroy the remaining armored vehicles. Strike after strike. Drones stop the column. But sacrificing tanks and APCs, the enemy deploys most of its infantry. The Russians constantly move, trying not to get hit. A firefight begins in the background. They have come close to Ukrainian positions. A Ukrainian soldier opens fire with a machine gun. They try to pass themselves off as friendlies.
Кричи по-русски, кричи по-русски. Свои!
It all looks as if Russian infantrymen have walked into a trap. They start running, and the Ukrainian soldier notices it. A Russian infantryman tries not to expose himself and stays in cover. The situation is very difficult. Drones are flying overhead, and the Ukrainians are just a few dozen meters away. At the same time, another Russian APC breaks away from the rest. It unloads infantry near Ukrainian trenches and tries to escape. A fighter notices enemy movement and designates the target for the machine gunner. The machine gunner immediately opens heavy fire on the designated target, and the soldier himself resumes shooting, suppressing the enemy with short, precise bursts. Another soldier, deeper in the trench, quickly reloads empty magazines, preparing the ammunition for his comrades. Suddenly, an enemy bullet finds its mark. The machine gunner cries out in pain and falls to the bottom of the trench. His comrade reacts instantly, realizing what has happened. A drone observes the battlefield, where a Russian armored combat vehicle tries to leave its position. An anti-tank missile crew launches, and a few seconds later, a powerful explosion rips the vehicle apart, turning it into a heap of burning metal. In the trench, Ukrainians keep firing back, giving their comrades precious seconds to aid the wounded. After a quick inspection, it becomes clear the injury is fortunately not fatal. The soldier remains composed despite the pain. The enemy keeps pressing on, and the fighters urgently need ammunition. The commander demands magazines be reloaded immediately. In this critical situation, the soldiers decide to use heavier weapons to suppress the enemy firing point once and for all. A fighter takes out an ATGM and fires. The damaged APC unloads several more soldiers. a Leopard arrives to support the Ukrainians. It boldly maneuvers in the open striking positions, but a Russian drone is already tracking it. A precise hit disables the tank, and it rolls into a trench. Caught in a trap, the vehicle is quickly finished off with a second strike. In the tree line, the enemy still remains. A drone flies out and delivers a precise strike. This is the climax of the battle. 2 APCs unload Ukrainian soldiers, and the assault begins. Wasting no time, the soldiers spread out and, under armor cover, rush toward the trees. They are met with enemy fire. The commander gives the order, and the assault begins. Fire is exchanged at very close range. The assault troops suppress enemy firing points. One enemy is neutralized, but there are more ahead. This drone footage confirms this. The fighters find the main target, an enemy bunker. The group takes control of it, preparing for clearance, while the field commander reports intermediate results. Russian soldiers are facing serious problems, but still try to resist. Ukrainian drones keep on striking, and after that, the enemy decides to retreat.
Смачно, хлопці, дуже смачно.
Да, FPV прилетело, сейчас ёбается остаток петухов с 33 выбегает в 32.
The infantry withdraws in an organized manner. While some run, the commander provides cover with a handheld grenade launcher.
Отход, отход!
He stays in the trench and reports over the radio.
Это наши стреляют! Это наши стреляют! Подгруппа выдвинулась. У нас пока контакт. Контакт на дистанции идет.
The Ukrainians see every movement, every soldier.
There they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're coming from that tree line.
Several Russians remain in the tree line to cover the retreat. But a surprise awaits them. An APC with infantry arrives. Its heavy large-caliber machine gun rakes the entire tree line. After that, a tank arrives. There are no more chances. It breaks straight through the resistance, scattering the enemy's last forces. The infantryman is glad it's over. An important position has been captured, but it was difficult. Russian soldiers run out into the field en masse. They have no strength or resources left. They drop their weapons and surrender. After the battle, Ukrainian infantry inspect the trophies.
Бачите на його камеру.
Вот.
Це водійське посвідчення. Водійське удостоверення.
Узбекистан, раз.
Узбекистан.
Це русських.
Третього себе. Беремо і робимо.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.